So welcome to this week's video. It's a beautiful, cold, sunny October day. I'm doing a bit of a Halloween camp this week. I've upgraded some of my gear to a bit of army gear to keep me warm over winter so I can keep camping. So I got myself an army surplus down sleeping bag, should keep me a lot warmer. And I got a Lavvu, only a small one, but only 5'7", 5'8" anyway, so hopefully it'll be a decent size for me. So I'm going to set it up for the first time now. So this is the Lavvu heavyweight Polish canvas tent. So what is this? Two ponchos, but buttoned together, so two soldiers would wear them, and then in the evening then take their ponchos off for the day, button them together and make a tent. This one is from 1975, and I think the other side's from 76. So these were issued then but not used. You also get these nice little packs here with the tent pegs in and 3 poles in each. So you get 6 poles all together. That's so you can build your middle pole. Today I am going to build the middle pole, but what I could do is put a ridge line between those 2 trees behind me and then use like a rock or something to hook it up to the ridge line. But I think I might buy myself a bit of webbing and sew it onto the top, so next time I can use the ridge line. But I thought for today, try it the classic way with the pole, you know. So what I'm going to do now is peg it down, get the pole up in the middle, and then re-peg it. You can buy it's called a Lavvu Bigfoot. Get off eBay. If you Google that on eBay, Lavvu Bigfoot. Then yeah, you can buy yourself a little stand to go on the base at the bottom. But for now, I'll do that. Alright. Right, so now it's roughly up. I'm going to cut a bunch of lengths of paracord and then chuck a bunch of toggles through, so the toggles are sitting on top of the grommets, just so they're not pulling it out and ripping it or whatever. And with a bit of cord on, it should give me a bit more, just a bit more width on the bottom. I'll be able to pull it out a bit wider, get as much room inside as I can. So now it's all pegged down, what I'm going to do is do this bottom button up. I think I should have had it done up from the start really, just to make sure my front's closable later on when I want it. So now that's closed, I'll re-peg out these front two. Well, it's not looking too bad. Try and get that pole sorted now. Take a look inside. If I can ever undo these buttons. So the thing is, before you set it up for the first time, button up the back at home, just in case it's raining when you get out, because these buttons take ages. The good thing about them though is each one has got 2 button holes. So it acts like a storm flaps, you know, keep all the rain out. Decent amount of space in there anyway. Right, so magic carpet for the just for a bit of a ground sheet there, and a blanket, try and keep in a bit of heat from the ground, well, reflect a bit of my heat back even. Not bad. What's underneath me now? And then let's hope this big mat fits in there, because I'm only 5'7", 5'8". This is a small. It'll fit me fine. So if this big stupid mat will fit in, I'm not sure about. Hi mate, Dad.
What are you up to?
Filming. I'm camping.
You're not out?
Ah?
You can't camp, is it?
Give me 2 seconds now, let me turn this off. So there we go. Trackology fits in alright, surprisingly. And I got this army sleeping bag now, which is ducked down. Should keep me nice and warm. I also got this DD under blanket as a quilt. Sleeping bag was £30 off eBay. British Army. I needed something a bit warmer than when I was using the synthetic. Folds down into the hood. Nice and warm. Water resistant bottom as well. And I got this for my hammock. Not a chance to use it yet. So there we go. It's home for the night. Yeah, that bloke thought I was poaching down next to the river. He said they've been trying to find me for 3 months because I come down here, I got permission to camp in this field, but obviously they didn't know who I was. And they said as soon as I park my car there, and people pay a lot to fish here, and I'm parking in one of their spots basically. So funny that I go places I'm not allowed to camp and pretty much don't see anyone, and I go somewhere I actually have permission to camp and have to explain it to somebody who's trying to kick me out. Well, I guess fair play to them. I mean, the 2 guys are like wardens for the fishing thing. They were nice guys anyway. Once they knew who I was and what I was doing, they were fine. Really chuffed with this setup. Pretty good. Magic Carpet XL is nearly a perfect size for the little footprint of the Lavvu. So I just went around and just made a few modifications to the Lavvu. I took out the paracord from the front too, and just pegged them straight down because they were flying out because the paracord a bit. It's all kind of flying off the ground, so I'm going to let it draft in underneath. I think in summer it'd be spot on, but it's a bit cold for that now. So this is the inside. There's my snacks down there for the day. But I think actually in this tent I've got more space than I had in my other tent. In the front of the mat, but there, look. And I kind of thought the pole would be a bit of a problem, you know, space wise, but with all my mat set up behind it, I think there's plenty enough space there. So dead impressed with that. Wasn't really expecting the small to be that roomy, if I'm honest. I expected it to be a bit cramped, but yeah, for 40 quid from militarymart.co.uk, so get on it if you want one. Size 2 and 3's gone. There's some size 1s left, so definitely recommend if you're under 6 foot getting one of these. So I'm gonna do a bit of cooking with the old twig stove as usual. Got a couple of burgers. So we're going to find some wood. Oof. Don't have my axe on me today, so try and use this little knife. Try and make a bit of a point on this. It'd be a lot easier if I did have an axe, but there we go. Thank you, Morrison's. there we go. So, seeing as it's Halloween, I thought I'd find a couple of spooky stories and read them to you. Thankfully for you, they're all about camping, and I'm the one out here camping for the night, so perhaps reading all these before I go to bed isn't the best idea, but never mind. If this is my last video, then cheers everybody. Not long ago, but before interstate highways ran around towns and cities, a young man left Greensboro late one night to drive to his old home in Lexington. At the time, just east of Jamestown, the old road dipped through a tunnel under the train tracks. The young man knew the road well, but it was a thick, foggy night, and he drove cautiously, especially when he neared the underpass. Many wrecks had taken place at that spot. He slowed down on the curve leading to the tunnel, and was halfway through it when his eyes almost popped out of his head. Standing on the roadside, just beyond the underpass, was an indistinct white figure with arms raised in a gesture of distress. The young man slammed on his brakes and came to a stop beside the figure. The ghosts. So the young man quickly slammed on his brakes and came to a stop beside the figure. It was a girl, young and beautiful, resplendent in a long white evening dress. Her troubled eyes were glaring straight towards him. Obviously she was in need. He jumped from the car and ran around to where she stood motionless. "Can I help you?" "Yes." Her voice was low. "I want to go home. I live in High Point." He opened the door and she got in. As they drove off, he said, "I'm glad I came by. I didn't expect to see anyone this late on the road." "I was at a dance," she said in a quiet, monotone voice. "My date and I had an argument. It was really bad, so I made him drop me off back there." He tried to continue the conversation, but she wouldn't speak another word until they were at High Point. Then she said, "Turn the next left. I live 3 doors on the right." He parked before a darkened house, got out of the car and went around to open the door for her. When he walked around the car and grabbed the door handle, he pulled it open to see there was no one there. He looked into the back seat. Empty. He thought maybe she'd rushed up the sidewalk out of sight, so he thought it was only reasonable to find out if she'd entered the house. He went up the steps and knocked on the door, but no one came. He knocked again, but there was no sound. After a third knock, through the side panes a dim light appeared from the pitch-black hallway. Finally the door was opened by a white-haired woman in a nightrobe. "I brought a girl to this house," he explained, "but now I can't find her. I picked her up out on the highway." "Where?" the old woman asked. "At the Jamestown underpass," he said. "She told me she had been to a dance and was on her way home." "I know," said the woman wearily. "That was my daughter. She was killed in a wreck at that tunnel 5 years ago tonight, and every year since, on this night, she signals a young man just like you to pick her up. She's still trying to get home." The young man turned from the doorway, speechless. He drove on to Lexington, but never has he forgotten, nor will he ever forget, the beautiful hitchhiker and how she vanished into the night. So I slept good in the Lavvu. It rained a bit in the night, but yeah, it's waterproof. You can see where it's beaded on the outside. It's all beaded, yeah. It only really soaks in if you touch it. And down the bottom down here were kind of pools of water, but I kept it off good. I think perhaps having those flues, you know, for a bit of convection underneath would have been good, so I closed down the gaps underneath I'd created with that paracord, and I think that made it a little bit more wet on the inside, a bit of condensation. I'm also using the DD under blanket. See with this, like this got wet, but you can see again, you know, most of the moisture is kind of just bubbling on the top and it's working it away from the actual fabric, so it's not actually getting all that wet. And this was really warm, really good to have, but I just need to let a bit more air into the tent so it doesn't get too much condensation on it. So I'm going to go with my pumpkin in the night, put it over there by a tree, and it's by a small pond. That guy from the fishing thing was saying yesterday there's otters in there, so I think the otters had a bit of a pop with my pumpkin. Got a lid off it. I think having the extra sticky toffee pudding before bed worked. It wasn't cold last night, and it was pretty cold, yeah. I don't know what temp it got down to. I think it was about 6 or something. But yeah, that new sleep system worked out really well. Much warmer bag, the army bags. And considering you can only really get a summer bag from like Mountain Warehouse or whatever for £30–40, pay the same price and get a really good down bag from the army surplus, it was awesome. My pan here from yesterday. And I got a couple of sausages that are already cooked, so I'm just going to heat them through. thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that spooky camp out as much as I did. Thought I'd do something a bit festive for the best season of the year. And yeah, cheers for watching. I'll catch you next week.